I think some button will come up. I think we're recording. Recording. I think now we're recording. So welcome to the CNCF Kubernetes Book Club. Every Friday we get together. There's 2 series in the book club. Thursdays, there's one that they're reading the Production Kubernetes. That's an excellent book. We already did it in another series. It took us a year. So that one has a time zone that is more friendly for Europe and India. Some folks are meeting there, so you can RSVP for that one. This one is on Fridays, this time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And currently we're doing the CKA exam book. And the next one, I think we're going to start in January with the CKS. So that, I think that's what people are asking for, like to practice, and looks like they want to get their certification. So we'll discuss those books, and they're actually books. There's the CKS books also for that. So for today, we're going to be discussing the Acing the CKA exam from Chad Crower, and it's the Troubleshooting Chapter 8. I think this is the last chapter. The next one is, I think, like tips on taking the exam and such. But this one is the Troubleshooting Kubernetes exam, Troubleshooting Kubernetes, and in the exam, you will have like broken clusters or broken apps or something wrong with the kubelet or something wrong with the kube proxy, like a component. So you can see the goals here, monitoring and viewing logs, like where to get the logs of Kubernetes pods, or monitoring and viewing logs from the cluster components. And that's things like kube API, kubelets, logs, and then how to find them in the host system. Even the pods, you can find them there. Determining CPU and RAM usage. I don't think I saw this when I read the chapter, or maybe I didn't get that far, but we can discuss it. Resolving common cluster problems. I would say cluster and kind of like problems with pods of the applications. Analyzing network traffic, in terms of like pod-to-pod communication, or like connecting like ingress. I think it was more on the pod-to-pod. And the percentage, where is it? This is 30% of the exam. I think it's the biggest topic on it. And the first one is understanding logs. Oh, I see Chad here. Hey, Chad.
Hey, everyone. So sorry for being late, and I'm juggling a lot of plates today. I was on a customer call, so I really apologize. But we had a sub 1 issue, and I had to respond. So these things come up as we're all trying to juggle work and our learnings. So
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
your patience.
Yeah, no problem
No
at all.
problem at all.
So you troubleshoot the problem? Talking about troubleshooting.
Yeah, I got some good practice. Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. Do you want to take over?
Yeah. Let me share my screen, and we'll do this thing. So this share screen button is not showing up for me.
Oh,
so can you add me as a?
I think I need to bounce you. Let me see. You are a presenter, so maybe I need to stop. Go ahead.
Oh, there you go. Now showed up.
And I think there's someone with some noise. I don't know where Eric can find it.
That's probably me, actually. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Still the meeting.
Still a meeting going on? If not, then we'll continue, Chad. It's not a
yes,
problem.
if you have to go, yeah, we can take over.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. All right, so you can see my screen, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, can you see my terminal?
Terminal, where you have it on the right?
On the left-hand side. It's going to be over the current window.
No, and then it went off now.
Share window.
Window will allow you like an app like a browser or the terminal. I think desktop would allow you to display both the terminal and the browser.
Share screen. There we go. Okay. Now, can you see my screen?
Let's give it a
Can you see my
second.
screen and my terminal? Let me know when you can.
No.
Okay. Let me. I have to leave and come back, so I'll be right back. Sorry.
It's the sharing. It might be the sharing thing. So when chat comes back, yeah, the first section is around logs, and then I think it's logs of pods. And a tip that is on the book is around -n. So you can set the context of the namespace that you're working on. I think that's what I tend to do, because some tasks in the exam are like, a couple of things that you have to do, and it's like the same namespace. So I like to set the context, like you see here at the top. And if you have autocomplete, then you can do kconfig set context -- current, set the current context to -- namespace, and then the name of the namespace, and then you don't have to worry about putting -n all the time to resolve that. So I like that tip that he said. Then the next thing is around the as you work more with Kubernetes, these errors that you get when you do a describe, and then you see the events of a pod, like crash, loop back, image pull back, creating container. Some of these errors, you would know like what is the symptom, and it's like you cannot see even like the pod is not even starting, so you cannot even see the crash loop back off. Is something that is they're trying to start the pod and it doesn't do it. But something like image pull back off, it's like the pod never got a chance to start, right? So you need to debug like what's the image pull is not working. So I think I usually divide it in two. Is like either the pod started and there was a problem, and then you can look at the logs or the previous logs, in that case like -- preview, or there's something like kubelet having trouble like creating the pod in the first time, like downloading an image or something like that. So there's like two categories on those errors. I think we have chat back. Chat, you're back.
Hey, I'm back. I joined from a different browser, so should go better now.
Okay, I mean, stop sharing now. I was just going over like the different type of status errors. Like if you work a lot with Kubernetes, you become like these statuses by heart. This
definitely.
is like the first thing that you look at troubleshooting a problem, and you will see the error, and you will say, aha, I know where to dig on this one, right? Once you know the status error. So I was just describing some of them is either the kubelet having trouble creating the pod in the container, or the pod got started and there's something wrong with it, that it restarts or blows up.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you'll definitely see that as you we see that every day working with Kubernetes. So it's something that we see a lot, but a lot of times, and why I include it in the chapter is just because a lot of times you don't know what to do with that information, and also it helps just to get some further context and point you in the right direction as far as troubleshooting goes. So I thought it was pretty helpful. So I'm assuming you can see my screen now, because I didn't
We
have
see
as
both
many.
the terminal and the browser.
Okay, great. All right, so don't use Safari browser is my recommendation for that. So yeah, crash loop backoff is, I think, one that I've seen the most, and we actually saw it in a previous chapter where we started the MySQL pod, and we didn't set the MySQL password as an environment variable, so we saw that as a crash loop backoff. You'll also see crash loop backoff if you I think we've seen that before when we didn't specify an image that was recognized, or rather the like in the case of the BusyBox image, right? The image ran to completion, and because by the very nature of the BusyBox image, it doesn't automatically restart like the Nginx, for example, does. The default nature of pods is to always kind of restart the image, and if the BusyBox image doesn't have that mechanism to restart it, then that causes a crash loop back off. And so that's why we added the commands to sleep 3600 or sleep any amount of time, basically, to prevent that BusyBox container from crashing. So those are some examples. Other ones are kind of self-explanatory, like the error image pull. That means that they can't find the image. That happens a lot of time if you're pulling from a private registry or haven't logged into that registry, and so it can't find it, or you don't have authentication to that registry. And OOM killed, you'll see a lot with Java images because of the JVM, and that
Don't pick on Java. Like Java has like
we always love to pick on Java, but yeah, we shouldn't. We have to be kind to all the languages. So, but yeah, those are some examples. And so, what do we do when we kind of, oh, here's the MySQL one. What do we do?
I was going to say one interesting component on the Java is that some Java applications will need a lot of memory when they start, and then they will come back and settle. So some people would like put the limit of the memory once they see a Java, running, let's say 200 megs, like, okay, I'm going to set the limit to 250. And they set the limit, and it's everything okay until the next cycle of updating the application. When they update the cycle of application, it comes up and it can never like start because it consumes more CPU and memory on start, and then it settles. So that's something, I guess it's not part of the exam, but that's why I've seen like the Java applications coming out of memory on the starting the container.
Yeah, and so that's why we set limits. We talked about limits, I think, in chapter 6, where we reset requests and limits. So yeah, that's an important part of a task that you may get on the exam, which is to set requests and limits for an application. So that's good to know. So review chapter 6 if you're still fuzzy on that. But yeah, for the most part, I think what's really good to know when trying to troubleshoot any application is kind of the series of steps that you need to take. My kind of go-to is what you'll see on the screen here, which is using the kubectl logs. But not a lot of people know that the kubectl logs command is essentially scraping the var log containers directory on the node. So if for some reason the API is not available, or the klogs command doesn't work, SSH to the node that the pod is running on, of course, but you can also get the logs from there as well. So to just kind of quickly show an example of that, I have my pods in the kube system namespace, right? I don't have my alias set. So used to just using K. So we have our pods in the kube system namespace. Hopefully you can see my screen right. If you can't, let me know. So all of these pods exist and are running on the control plane node. I know that by if I run the wide command, I'll see under the node column, there's sorry, in the node column, you'll see the node that pod is assigned to. So some are on the control plane node, and then some are actually on the kind worker. This is because these are a daemon set. A daemon set. We talked about daemon sets in an earlier chapter, and we'll place a pod on each node in the cluster. And if a node gets added to the cluster, a pod automatically gets spun up on that worker node. So, but what I was getting to with the logs is, since we're on the control plane, we can go to var log containers. So we're in var log containers, and we see the logs here grouped by the pod name. So you can quickly locate where's the core DNS pod logs, where's the etcd pod logs, where's kindnet, where's API server, etc. So that's an alternate location that you can use to view the logs essentially. So tail the logs, or open that log file. All right, so let's go back to the book. So let's go down to some examples here, or some exercises rather. So we'll go down to exam exercises. All right, so here are the exercises at the end of this section. So move the file kubeschedule.yaml to the temp directory with the command. Okay, so that's easy, right? We learned about these specific YAML files. Put in the chat if you know what directory this kube.scheduler.yaml file is in. And so we'll skip that and come back to it, since it's kind of a low-hanging fruit. Create a pod with the command krun nginx image nginx. List the pods and see if the pod is in a running state.
But I think this exercise was around, the first step is to break the cluster, right? And the second one is like try to run it and see why it doesn't schedule.
Oh, good point. I'm sorry, I missed that part. I did not break the cluster, so.
Yeah, when if the scheduler is not doing its job, and basically the scheduler, what it does, it puts the node name on the pod. The pod will stay pending forever, right? Just pending, like looking for someone, a controller, scheduler, or some other scheduler, or someone to put the node name, right?
Yep, that's right. So yeah, important note about this particular chapter is that we have to kind of simulate the breaking of the cluster first, and then we can get to repairing it, right? On the exam, the cluster will already be broken, so you don't have to simulate anything. But in this case, since we're all working on our individual local workstations, this is what we have to do. So
yeah, and you can just, I think the intention was to copy it to temp, modify, like break a flag from kube scheduler, and then put it back, right? And then run nginx, right? Or do a commando like vim directly into it.
Yeah. Oops. Cube scheduler.
I think vim is not available, but vi should be available.
Oh, hold on. I could do that, I guess. It's a kube scheduler, actually.
Yeah. Vi is not at all. Yeah, this is the image from kind, like node kindnet, right?
Yeah. So I just fixed that. So, all right.
Yeah, put an extra something. Yep.
Yeah, extra K, I think, is what I did in the book. So if we don't have a scheduler, let's see if anything is happening with the scheduler pod. So the scheduler pod right here, right? It says 0 out of 1. We talked about the manifest directory in a previous chapter, right? So we know that if we make changes to that YAML file, the kubelet already automatically picks it up and starts to make those changes and restarts the pod to do so. So we already see there's something happening here. So what is that something happening? Maybe we could look into that. So we could do possibly a describe. With kube scheduler pod.
Who wants to guess what would the status error message? It will be image pool error. It will be cache pool loopback. Cache loopback.
Yep. So back off. You're saying failed container, kube scheduler and pod.
Yep.
So back off.
It's the kubelet trying to run the container, and then the thing is just exiting, right, with 1. But yeah, let's schedule I think at this point, we don't want to debug kube scheduler. I think the point of the book test was like run nginx and see like why is nginx not running.
Yeah. Yep. So if we do krun nginx,
because that's the trick, right? With some nginx not running, like why the hell is not why it's not running, right? That's the question to answer in the amount of time that you have in the exam. We have a pod.
So we have a pod. It's in the pending state right now.
Pending state. And what are the no events?
No events yet. So if we describe that pod, no events.
No events. So that's even more tricky, right? You have less information.
Yeah. So no events, no logs. If we see that the pod is running, it hasn't even landed on a node yet, so we don't have any logs.
The status is empty, right? I'm guessing. If you do a -o YAML, the status will be empty.
Status pending.
Status pending. That's it.
Best effort. Yes, it's not even. It seems to be that the pod is not even being able to be scheduled to the node, which is obviously an issue. What do we do about this? We can do git pods on all namespaces and see, oh no, the kube scheduler is in a crash loop backup. That's not good. That's probably why the pod nginx up here is having troubles. It's not able to be scheduled because the scheduler is offline. So the exercises.
So that's a tip, right? Right there, like at least get pod --A. Like look at the status of all the rest of the pods in the system.
Yep. So determine why the pod is not starting by looking at the events and the logs, and we already did that. So we saw that there are no events, no logs. So we still need to determine how to fix it and get the pod back in a running state. So run this command here. Oh, that's the next phase. So how do we fix it? In this case, since you just saw me break the cluster, we could easily modify that, or based on the events that we saw from the kube scheduler pod, we could see what's going on there. So if we go back into etc Kubernetes, manifest, and then kube scheduler, and then I'll change this back, and then hopefully we'll see that container almost immediately it came back up. Or no, it's not there. So it's in the process of being restarted, it looks like.
The kubelet will see it. We'll see the file on the next round.
So now it came back.
And you see nginx right there.
Yep. So now the nginx pod is running in the default namespace. And then the schedulers come back up as well. So it's running 0 out of 1 ready still, but
yeah, that covers logs. One tip I was going to give was pods can have more than one container. So if you want to see the logs, when you see kubectl logs, you're asking for the logs of one container. And you have to specify -c to select which container you want to get logs from, in case you have an exercise or a task around 2 containers, and you waste looking for the wrong logs. Oh, here it is, A11. Right, that's the section. Yeah.
Yep. So as Carlos just said, we have we could potentially have more than one container. Let's say that we had a container in the same pod. One container is named BusyBox, another is called Sidecar. We do the -c to indicate which container we want to get the logs from. Or if we want to see both containers at the same time, we could do all containers, right?
-r containers, that's true. Yep.
So we can do that real quick if you want it. That's a good exercise to go through. So just to demonstrate that fact. I blame Word for all of the
Yeah, there's
kind of
it likes
formatting.
to remove the space between the dashes, right?
Yeah, that's always fun.
Is it Word, or was like the editor system software from the book company?
Yeah,
Richer.
I originally gave them a markdown file, and they were like, "What do I do with this?" And they didn't know how to read anything but Word, so had to adjust my ways.
Yeah, there's a couple of erratas. I think I opened a few. It'd be good to fix them, because someone that doesn't know much, right? Well, it's just a CKA, but for someone the CKA, maybe they get into trouble.
Yeah. All right. So if we let's take this block.
Oh, you mentioned that technique in the book, right? How do you select multiple lines in VI and copy paste?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I read the book. Like, be proud of me. I read the book.
Yeah, very very proud of you, Carlos. Thank you. I appreciate you actually reading it.
+1 here.
Yeah. Awesome.
Not like
Thank
Eric, like waits until the last 5 minutes to say, like, I didn't read the book, but I will.
Hey.
Eric's busy.
That's
busy
good
guy.
intentions.
Leave him
Good
alone.
intentions.
All right. So for this example, I just added a second container here with just a different name, same image but different name, and that's all you need to do to add a second container. So we can apply that or create it. Create -f pod.yaml, and we'll see it coming up. We can watch it if we want. Oh, it's in a crash loop back off. Did I do that on purpose? Let's see. Yeah, it did land on the worker node. So we can do a describe pod busybox, and let's see what happened here. So successfully pulled image, backup restarting, backup restarting. Failed to create containerd task, failed to create shim task, OCI runtime. Okay, so this message usually means that I messed up my my while loop there. So let's go back and change that.
So the process, right, exec is doing an exec on command.
I think I need to do that.
So I think you will need your sh and -c in your first 2 arguments in that array, no?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, thank you. Along with putting everything in quotes. So Okay, so now we can.
You have a dash sh. I don't think that someone will barf. I think you
Dash
can.
C.
Dash C
Oh,
is
okay, yeah,
correct.
that's
I think
right.
the sh. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay. And then paste that in.
Yeah. YYP.
With that. Yep. Okay, let's try that.
Yeah, I feel like the people that work with VI every day has an advantage of these tests.
Yeah.
And I believe you have the right command.
Type of kind of type of string. All right, so let's use our cheat sheet here, which is the book. All right.
I think in the book I saw that.
What should do? Echo date. I am BusyBox. Sleep 5. Let's see. Looks. Okay, so here we go. Command, and then there's no. The command is not an array.
Oh, you were doing a double array.
Yeah.
You were doing an array and then an array. So command is an array, and then you pass the
Yes.
arguments.
There's not.
Yeah, people always have like confusion about when I use command versus args. That's just Linux argument for a container. Yep. Nice running.
So now we have our BusyBox. Our pod just named BusyBox. It has 2 pods. So again, K logs, and then the name of the container, or the name of the pod, BusyBox, and then dash C, and then we named one of them BusyBox, so we can do that one. I am BusyBox, and this one's going to say BusyBox as well, even though it's called Sidecar, because we just
copy paste the command. Yep.
Copied and pasted. So
and then both,
and then we can do
dash, dash.
all containers. So those are both of them, which say the same thing.
And then a tip, right, that we always say, run klogs dash dash help. In there, you will see other options like dash dash previous. I think somebody in the chat mentioned what does dash p does. Dash f to follow the log, so you can keep going and seeing the logs. You can say since the last hour. So this maybe this stuff doesn't come up in the exam, but the exam is not the most important thing, right? The important thing is like you being a good administrator and know where to look for help and where to look for answers.
Yep. So I ran the help menu and saw all these beautiful examples that you can use on the exam, which are really nice, that you can just copy and paste and not have to memorize the individual.
I wish other CLIs in Linux have this, like this type of examples, right?
Me too. Yeah. Cool. So what can we get into next? Let's go back to the exercises, because I think I had another thing that was a breaking thing.
Container.
All right, so let's do some kubelet troubleshooting. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that was interesting. That's cluster component failures, right? Not your pods, but something with the clusters going on.
So this command is what we're running to essentially break our cluster again, and so we're this is just the kubeadm conf that we're kind of reloading into our cluster to break it. Again, on the exam, you won't have to do this, of course, but we're kind of simulating how to go through the process of troubleshooting the kubelet. So now that we've done that, we can check the status of the kubelet. So if you remember, I think we've talked about this before, I could be wrong. We can use systemctl for that. Systemctl status kubelet. And we see that the, so it's not in a running state. It is active and running. Okay, so my command did not work. Let's see. All right, so let's see here. let's take a look at just take a look at this real quick. So, oh, there's a space here. That's why. Okay. All right. So,
What's wrong? Something wrong with the curl to get the file?
yeah, there's a space in the URL. So, all right. So that looks good. No such file or directory. Okay. All right. So let's try to locate that directory. So etc systemd, and then system.
No, I think you run the command without starting with curl.
Oh, I did. Okay.
If I have my hawk eyes checked.
Yeah, good call. Yep, the curl was on a different line, so appreciate you catching that. All right. Yep, that worked better. All right, so now let's try our systemctl command again. So systemctl status kubelet. Cross your fingers, and it's still active and running. Shoot. Okay.
Have to roll the daemon reload didn't work. Daemon
Let's try it.
reload. See, you're doing a curl on that file, copying it to. Yeah, I think you have two spaces. You have another space on the output of that curl command. So we need to go through that curl command. The output is not outputting to. It was outputting to /it at C.
Okay, I have my text pad. But my text is super small, so.
So
Put it
yeah,
all
so
in
you do
one
a
line.
curl of that file. Conf system reload and restart. Yeah, I think that
Okay.
looks better.
Let's try it. System service failed because control process exited with error code.
Yep.
Okay.
Broken now.
All right. So status.
Yeah, I saw red letters somewhere when you run the command.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, loaded but not enabled. Okay, so
The result
right,
is
so
exit code. Yeah.
yeah, we have to see what's going on
Status
here.
127. So it's exiting with return code 127.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so now that we've broken our cluster, we check the status of the kubelet, and we see that it's that we have an error code there, and go through the troubleshooting steps to resolve the problem with the kubelet service. So what do we do with this? We know that the kubelet's down. How do we troubleshoot this to potentially fix it, right? So, we could potentially look at general CTL. So we get a nice little error message here, or a nice little info message here that says, see systemctl status kubelet.service and journal ctl -xe for details. So maybe let's try that. And so let's see, failed to restart kubelet. A start job for unit kubelet.service has failed. Start job identifier is 4207 and the job result is failed. So control process detected. I'm trying to look for any useful information here that would help me kind of determine.
At the
what I
top, it
could do
says kind control plane created, not something not found. There's a line. Usually that's a line
Oh,
that
that's
says
right. Okay.
not found.
Right here. So create kubelet C group v2 not found. So it's something with the kubelet, obviously, but C group v2 kind of seems like maybe something related to how the kubelet is configured. And so we could take a look at, I guess a natural question that comes up is like how is the kubelet configured? Where is the configuration stored, right? So we don't have access to our Kubernetes cluster, or maybe we do. Yeah, so control plane is in a not ready status, right? So we can't necessarily. Let's actually try that. Yeah, so we could look at our config maps, which is the configuration that's stored in Kubernetes, to see there's a kubelet config. That's kind of a clue there, right? Kubelet config. And so we could try to investigate that. So let's see, let's get that config map. Get config map.
Would I be looking at this kubelet config or the one on disk that the host is trying to start with systemd?
Yeah, I'd be looking at the one on disk, but I'm just trying to go through.
Go ahead, continue.
Trying to connect the dots for people to provide some
and
hints
see if this is different from the one on disk. That could be another thing, right, to try.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we can do OYAML, and then we can see. Let's see. Is there any kind of just kind of scanning for any typos or anything that looks kind of weird that sticks out? Oh,
the error.
The data directory. That's interesting. So, it's almost like I did it on purpose. So var lib etcd. Well, that's the data directory for etcd, right? So var lib maybe something that I want to look into as far as the kubelet configuration being in there as well.
Well, the error says something about C group, so maybe you can search /n for C group, right?
Search /n for C group. Yeah. Yep. You mean like just scan the local file system for something?
No. In this config map, if there's something about C group.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay. Yeah. C group driver, systemd, C group root, kubelet. Okay, so that's some more information there. Let's see. Just looking on each side of the line there. See if we can get any more information. So, yep, that's the authorization. Above it and below it is the cluster DNS. So, let's see here. All right. So where do we go from here? So let's go back to the book and see if we can.
I think the book doesn't have the answers for this type of exercises, right?
The book does have the answers, yeah. So we could, I guess, cheat and look at our.
They're at the bottom. I never knew.
Yeah.
So I was going to say one thing that you can do is look at the file that has the actual command on kubelet, and you can try it yourself. Like you can run it from the command line and see if it spits like an error, right? That's something that I've done to troubleshoot, like running my not letting the system, like whole system, run it. Like I want to run kubelet myself to see if there's something that we're passing wrong, right, from the systemd file, the way we're calling it.
Yeah. Okay. So in the book, I indicate that when we do the systemctl status kubelet, we see here this process here, right? So
yeah, but in here we don't see the full line, right? We have to go to the file.
Yeah, we don't
like it's cut off, I think.
Yep. So this is something different.
Is it really?
or no, or here, right here is what I'm trying to get at. Etsy systemd system kubelet.service.d. So right here. So let's check in the file etsy systemd/system/kubelet.service.d, which is named 10-kubelet.conf. So let's check in there.
Yep. The file is 10 kubeadm. Kubeadm? We call it kubeadm? Interesting.
And it's named 10.
I bet
maybe
there are
it's
other ones.
different actually.
.d. Kube.service.d, not slash.
Kube.service.d. Okay.
Yeah, 10 dash and then tab give you the.
Yeah, I don't have tab completion set up, so because I'm inside the container. So
go to that directory and see what's inside
10.
that directory.
You can just type, I can enter here.
I didn't hear that, sorry.
You can enter into the folder and select the file later.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. It's just difficult to type with so many people looking at you. Usually that's a symptom.
So kubeadm.conf, there we go. Okay, so we finally have this.
Yep. Yeah, this is the file that I usually look like I don't care about anything else. I want to run kubelet myself to see what is this thing spitting out, right? What's there? At the end of the day, this is just a binary. It's having trouble starting.
All right, so what we're trying to get at here is if we see the exec start and how kubelet service starts is it says here user local bin kubelet, right? Where if we as opposed to user bin, and so let's change that to user bin and see if that fixes it.
Well, because we're running out of time, right? We're doing like this, but yeah, in the example, you will look for that file, maybe do a which or an ls, and in the file will be missing, right?
Yeah, we can do which kubelet, and it'll tell you there as well. User bin. Yeah.
There's one in user bin. There's no one in user. Yep.
So
Did you update the file?
We updated the file.
Did you save the file?
And now we saved the file.
Okay.
And we can do another daemon reload and restart the service.
Yeah, and this something can bite you if you forget to do the daemon reload, right? You can waste.
Yeah.
We can waste time. Like, why is this stuff not working? I just did the start, and you run start again, and you run it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Thinking that maybe the 3rd time you run start actually will start. Hoping.
Yeah, exactly. Still exiting with error code, so let's see.
Just one question here, like the error did not give us the clue about the binary like path itself, right?
Yeah. So basically, because we're short on time, we're running running very fast. But usually, what you're going to do, look for that file that is here, 10 kubeadm, go into that file, and then copy paste the command that is actually running. And when you run that command, the error that Linux will tell you is like users lookup being kubelet not found, and you're like, oh, this file doesn't exist, and that'll give you the clue of that the kubelet was the wrong location of kubelet was indicated in the file. Right, Chad?
Yeah, and something that I failed to mention early on was just locating where the configuration is for. It's called kubeadm.conf, but how the kubelet service starts up, so we can investigate that file and see if there's any misconfigurations. So we just made the change in that file immediately, kind of using the cheat codes, but like we said, we can do which kubelet and see that that could potentially say something different. Instead of user bin kubelet, it could be user
type enter a few times, because I think that your name is blocking the view. Just hit enter a couple times. Yeah, user bin. Again, you double check the file. Just the kubeadm file conf. Again, can you show it again?
Yep. So the file is back here, right?
It's in the same folder that you're located.
So right here, this is the file that
Yep.
is the configuration for.
There might be something wrong in here, or typo, or I don't think they'll be that mean, right? To like put something in there, but something like a misspell, right? etcd default kubelet versus /etc environment file etc/kubelet. So in this case, I usually start with like the execution. I want to execute this, and I set these environment variables, and then I run actually the last line, and then that will either give me an kubelet will give me an error, or something will give me like cannot run kubelet. Like for example, you can change the executable bit from kubelet if you want to be mean, right?
Yeah, it'll be something obvious on the exam.
Yeah, it will be obvious. Yeah, we're not trying to trick you, but at least to know like where to look for the configuration, how the system starts the kubelet, how to get the files from the kubelet, journal CTL.
And so this is where I just start up another cluster and see what that file looks like to compare and see why the kubelet's not starting back up. So
But journal CTL should give you enough information, right?
Yep, journal CTL is a good journal.
And journal CTL, you have to run it, I think, with SU, right? Kubelet for the system unit of the kubelet. I think they give you the command like kubelet XE, but that gives you like everything. Oh, dash U,
so
U kubelet.
Journal CTL -U kubelet. So we could run that to get more information on
if it starts, or well, if it starts, even if it doesn't start. Well, I think it was starting and then exiting, so it might have like host information. But if the kubelet got far enough on starting, the logs will be there that the kubelet is putting out. Yeah, this is kubelet putting information out, but this could be O logs, right? Also taking into account.
Yeah. Yep. So good. Yep. So journal CTL is kind of a logging mechanism for systemd itself, which if you don't know, systemd is the main daemon that runs all the other daemons in Linux. So it's kind of a Linux thing, not necessarily a Kubernetes thing. So here we go. We got, when we ran journal CTL in the example in the book, we saw that there is an error syncing pod was one of the examples. So that's the type of errors that you're looking for there when you're.
Yeah, and this is something also that I found not confusing, but like people need to pay attention. Like people look for the kubelet configuration usually in /etc and spend like 5 minutes looking for the kubelet config in /etc because it's not in /etc. It's usually in /varlib. I think that's the only configuration from Kubernetes /varlib. Everything else lives in /etc Kubernetes.
Mm-hmm.
Even container D is not in varlib, I believe. I might be wrong, but yeah, something that now I remember. Like if I want to look for the kubelet information, it's in the config.yaml, but it's not /etc. /etc will be the system D information. So this file may be misconfigured also, right? The config file from the kubelet. So knowing where all these configuration files are for Kubernetes, that's the task of a Kubernetes admin, right? To know all these files, where they are, how they configure, and if they're working or not.
Yeah, this really is what differentiates this exam from the others. Is you have to know more about under the hood, right, and how Kubernetes operates. So it's, investigating this particular section is going to be 30% of the exam, so it's going to be a good portion, and for good reason, right? As an administrator, you're going to have to troubleshoot kubelet and troubleshoot configurations on the Linux system. So these are all good things to know.
Yeah, so that's why always recommend, if you're not like strong in Linux or Linux command, doing a review, a short course in Coursera or any other place, or a book, just doing a short review will be it will help you a lot, right? Because maybe you know the Kubernetes pieces, but then you're missing the Linux pieces. So looking for process, for files, the file permissions, executable bit, right? Editing files. So these things will save you time in the exam, and also useful, like if you're looking for a job or you're doing the job already.
Yeah, if you'd like a recommendation on a video that you can go through, a YouTube video that covers Linux and containers in depth, check out this video here, which is on the Cube Simplified channel on YouTube, and this is me. I'm going through Linux and Docker fundamentals, and this is a 6-hour video. So, break this up into manageable chunks. But the point here is that this is going to be your Linux practice, because this is
Yeah,
a
very good.
workshop, and we're good. So little shameless
Yeah,
plug there.
condensed to 6 hours, right? So
yeah, condensed. Yeah.
yeah, the links can be more than this. People are like, "Oh my god, 6 hours!" Like, oh, nice. I said like, "Oh, nice. Only 6 hours. That's short."
yeah. Yep. So if you ever, but also very, very helpful for the exam, and also just being a Kubernetes administrator, you're going to have to know this stuff. So it's all good.
Okay. Well, I think we're running out of time. We stop at network troubleshooting. If the people want to do network troubleshooting, maybe we can do another section. And I think that's it, right? Or is there's more stuff about network troubleshooting?
Yep, that should be it. So, and this is the last chapter in the book. So we're gonna wrap it up here, and then the remaining chapters, or the remaining chapter, is a review. So this is intended to be more or less a week or two before the exam. You're going through reviewing all the chapters, kind of reminding yourself of what you went through in the earlier chapters, 2 and 3 and 4, and some of the stuff you may have forgotten, and go through those exercises again before the exam, as well as take advantage of your free exam simulator. Don't forget that as well, because that's a
I
good
tell
practice.
people are not, they don't know this. If they haven't taken before, now there's a free simulator. Used to be like you have to pay for it before we go to clear.sh. But now it's included. When you pay for the exam, you get a voucher, right? And you get to use 2 sessions, right? They give you 2 sessions or 1 to practice. Yeah,
2 sessions.
2 is very good, because you try one, and then it's like, oh my god, I didn't realize I'm that terrible, and then you practice all the things that you didn't get right, and then the second time when you try, like you nail it. The simulator is in the. Go ahead.
You can pause you can pause the session and come back to it, because the simulator is, I think, 26 questions, or maybe even more. But you can pause and come back to it. So it's not like you have to sit down for the simulator on the first time around. I wouldn't be surprised if it took you 2 to 3 hours. So not a lot of people have that amount of time to sit down for one period of time. So I would encourage you to split that up, and the simulator allows you to pause and come back.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. But yeah, we'll talk more about the next section if people want to get together just to wrap up the book. Q&A or anything that people want to know about the CKA. So thank you so much. Thank you, chat. I know there were like troubles getting started, but thank you so much for joining, and all the people to join. So schedule then. Go ahead.
Frederick was asking the simulator name. I'm assuming you're talking about the killer SH stuff.
Yeah, killer.sh. So you can go to killer.sh, and then you pay for it now if you want to use it. But what we're saying is, if you pay for the CKA exam, you get free voucher for it. But either way, it's good.
To cash in your free voucher, go to training.linuxfoundation.org, log in, and when you go through and schedule, the same place where you scheduled your exam, did a system check and all that, it'll be in the top right, where it'll say, activate the killer shell. So look in there.
Yeah. So I think we're going to skip next week because it's a holiday here in the US. And then maybe after that, we'll do the next section. So thank you so much, folks, for joining, and the recording will be online. So
Thanks, everyone.
thank you
Appreciate your
so much.
patience.